All right, got a patch notes thing. Y'all are probably wondering where the live stream is, why this is a video. It's because I'm at work right now, you punks. So that's fun. If you haven't seen our usual format for discussing the patch notes, I would read them pretty much blind and react real time. Now, I did get some forewarning on these because, as you can see, this is a video, so I must have gotten them a little early. So I glanced at them while I was at work the other day. Didn't read them too in depth because I wanted to mostly talk about it on this video. And I also talked to some of the people that the community discussed. Balance mod for multiplayer was heavily considered in some of these discussions. So some of my criticisms aren't leveled at CA, but maybe at that group that decided those things. And like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm not right about everything. So when I say like, it's just my opinion, but like if like, oh wow, Bestigor's got 300 weapon strength, all armor piercing. I don't think that's very smart. Like that's just an opinion, right? So as I go through these things, like keep that in mind, but yeah, let's get into it. It's supposed to be a big one. As you know, I'm not a big campaign streamer, so I'm going to gloss over the campaign stuff, but it looks like they've done a lot of changes to get the AI to stop clumping up with like 620 stacks standing around one city but not doing anything. It'll make them a little more responsive. Also making some of the end game AI a little less passive. I've had that one before where the Skaven showed up but around all their original cities, but then just kind of like AFK'd and slowly attritioned out, standing around in like the Kislev Wastes outside of Thrott's home, but they didn't take it back. They just stood there. So I don't know, man. So less clumping. Some new landmarks that are all Cathay related, it appears. So making Cathay more interesting. More technologies for the Tiger Warriors. So kind of Tiger Warrior DLC follow-up. Goblin Big Boss, Great Shaman, Orc War Boss now have access to chariots in campaign. Oh, interesting. Okay. Moving on, a bunch of bug fixes for campaign, which I'm not going to read out every single one, but you can read through them when, I mean, it's live now. Faction mechanics added vampires and dark elves to Bashiva's targeted cultures. Okay, so that's more Bashiva type. Then there's extra Xiaoming, Tiger Den. So it seems like a lot more Grand Cathay focus things. There's a couple in here for other factions, but mostly seems to be going on about Cathay. And now here's some more scattered things, but like the spider yolk ingredient for Grom's Cauldron now should properly unlock after recruiting an Arachnarok spider flinger. Like, yeah, it's shit that I'm not going to read through every single one. More bug fixes. Nakai should keep his horde buildings after he gets confederated. Cool. That's fine. Zaytang the Walker was ignoring some skill benefits for heroes. This is all more campaign stuff. And then this is campaign balance related. Okay. Some events and missions, again, out of campaign. Not as much my deal. Technologies. More Celestial Dragon, Bashiva, so it's more Tiger Warrior follow-up. More Tiger Warrior follow-up for the campaign. And then some undead things. Again, this is all campaign stuff. UI. Fixed some bugs in the menus, but not too many issues here. Okay, and then more Bashiva follow-up. Cool. So far we have 13 pages into 30 pages of patch notes, and it has been a bunch of campaign updates, which is great. You know, glad a lot of people are getting campaign fixes. More people like campaign than multiplayer, so that's fine. Cool. A bunch of problems with Slaanesh getting too much speed, so they're trying to change that. Okay. Now we're getting onto some stuff that might actually affect us. Added missing moving attack animation to Jade Lancers, which should make them significantly better at running down things because they can attack while moving. Sky Lantern's range has been adjusted to 275. Sky Junket's Eye of the Dragon. Night Goblins will face the direction in which they are placing ladders. That's a siege thing. Aquatic to Low Cure Fellheart and Black Arc Corsairs. That's not unwelcome. It's fine. Bug fix for unit caps. Gate Master no longer gets expert charge defense on a Warhorse. It's fine. Great Shaman Sorcerer of Death had less missile resistance on a War Mammoth for some reason. Bjorg and Marauder Bearman were available as extended rosters, so now they're just not available on the Warriors of Chaos. Good. The Rusty Arrows had unit limit charge bonus lower than the base Goblin Archers. That's weird to have less charge bonus on an ROR, so that's fine. And Steam Tanks stop moving and spinning of their own accord. Okay, cool. So that stuff somewhat affects multiplayer, but again, it's just a long list of little bug fixes that are great, but it's hard to like talk about. Like, yeah, that is what it is. Okay. Some Lords and Heroes missing in Courage. Now they all have them. Master of the Mist didn't have a cooldown. Oh yeah, that was a bug about Aeslin that people didn't like, is you could just cast as Master of the Mist back to back to back. So that's fixed now. Okay. Okay. Fix an issue where AI ignores routing units when there are no other suitable targets. Okay, so more AI problems, fixing them so they're more responsive. That's fine. Some siege stuff. Fix some crashes. Fix some visual aspects to mostly Tiger Warriors and Celestial Generals. A couple things on other guys. Good lord, we're 17 pages into 30 pages of patch notes. It's just been bug fixes, which is like good, but my god. Okay, battle balancing. Let's go. This is what we live for. Bashiva, White Tiger passive from 55 meters to 100 meters. That's actually really good, because then she can actually reach more Tiger Warriors without being directly on top of them. I hope more things get their effects range increased to 100 meters, just because the game is bigger now, and 55 meters doesn't go as far as it used to. Tiger Warrior Sawai, which I believe is the Lord. Less cost, max splash tax reduced. Predatory Instincts ability, 24 melee attack added. Okay, so it looks like he's getting some buffs for his AoEs. And then Dawnglaive effect range increased to 55 meters. Okay, so he's getting some buffs. Some pretty sizable buffs, honestly. Claw Speaker, cost reduction buffs on some of their unique passives. And then one of the mantras getting a buff to its armor-piercing damage, so... all the Tiger Warriors getting buffs so far. Tiger Warrior Stalkers no longer uses the precursor missile weapon profile and now are missile skirmishers. I wonder if that gives them a lot more ammo. I'd be very curious what they mean by that. Tiger Warriors all have Woodsman. Okay. That's fine. Talion the Merciless now is immune to psychology, max splash tax reduced to 4, and has increased damage resistance and base AD AP scaling. So all the DLC units getting buffs, it seems. Celestial Dragon Guard, more mass, more HP. Terracotta Sentinel getting more buffs, armor sundering, and minus 50 gold on the Green Guardian. So Grand Cathay getting another round of buffs. Okay, we switched to Astrogoth Iron Hand. Mechanical Overdrive, base weapon strength increased, additional 20% AP weapon strength added, so Astrogoth getting some buffs. Stone Mantle no longer has the health activation flag, now based on the amount of spells cast by the player. Interesting. But it makes him slower and tankier than it used to. Mask of Slaanesh, yeah, getting less tanky. Less HP, less melee defense, more speed for one of their lesser used chants, and similar, yeah, larger radius and unyielding assault for the Waltzer Lethargy. So trying to incentivize the mask to use something besides the Mortis Engine debuff. Slongors, oof, taking a pretty decent nerf. Less armor piercing damage, less charge bonus, less HP. T'Challa getting some buffs on some of her dances. And Elixir of Damnation, number uses up to 5. What was it, 3? 2 before? Well, it's 5 now. Druchii Anointed, that's the hero, I believe. Plus 25 weapon strength. Can now purchase Murderous Euphoria and Guardian. I wonder what Murderous Euphoria is. Guardian's neat, but I wonder what Murderous Euphoria is. Praeton's getting some buffs as well. Damage reflection increased to 40 and has unlimited use of his all-consuming hatred. And then Endless Malice effect range increased to 55. Devotees of Slaanesh have Murderous Mastery. And second stage weapon strength is now 20%. Murderous Mastery. Isn't that the Dark Elf army ability? How would that proc on the Slaanesh roster? Huh. That's weird. I'll have to look into what they mean by that. Champions of Slaanesh now have immune to psychology, which they for some reason didn't, and bonus versus infantry increased by 5. Praeton ROR has the wounded prey contact effect and hide in forest. Okay. Did it? I feel like that thing used to have hide in forest, then it lost it, then it got it back. Weird. So here's one of the things I saw and I didn't necessarily love, but it's not CA's fault. Again, this is from that community balance mod, and I just maybe disagree, but Seeker Chariots, Hellflayers, and Exalted Seeker Chariots all got minus 20 armor and all got plus 20 charge bonus. I don't see the point in that. I feel like those chariots already had pretty insane charges, but the problem is they only do well against light infantry, is what I've seen. Like, even the ones with armor piercing, I've tried charging Chaos Warriors with them before after various chariot fixes, and like they just don't get through mass very well. So like armored infantry just bog them down. They don't get very much damage and they die. So it's like all these things are good at is killing light infantry if you babysit them and don't let them get shot by archers or caught by cavalry. It just doesn't seem worth it. But then getting charge bonus, so your charge that was already good versus light infantry is the same or better, I guess. But minus 20 armor means you're even squishier to the stuff that catches you. So I don't know. I think this takes like a bad unit and just keeps it pretty bad, in my opinion. Hellflayers got a little bit more armor piercing weapon strength, a little bit. Exalted Seeker Chariot got terror, which is something, but I still think all 3 of these are going to be really bad, personally. I'm ready to be wrong, but Chaos Lord of Slaanesh has Soporific Musk, which is pretty good debuff, and then Beguiling Gem now has a minus 20% speed effect. And Demonette's got cheaper. Alluress, so let me just check something. Cultist, Chimera. Okay. So there's this patch note doesn't have it divided by factions evenly, so we're almost done with the Slaanesh stuff, and then I'll give my Slaanesh overall thoughts. Alluress, minus 50 gold, because she was always too expensive, plus 5 melee defense on Demonic Steed. Locust of Swiftness now lasts 40 seconds, and now can purchase Locust of Beguilement as well. Interesting. So that does give the Alluress some more range. Marquis of Masochism, minus 100 gold. Bound Enfeebling Foe can now be used twice instead of once. Cultist of Slaanesh has a Pendant of Slaanesh with a cooldown of now 60 seconds, and Torment Blade duration now 18. I think those are both buffs. Chimera, okay, so that's Norsca. So all the Slaanesh stuff, it's weird to me. It's very weird, and like, this could be me taking issue with like what the community wanted, because CA did listen to what the community want. But like, the mask got a bit of a retune. Overall a nerf, for sure. You know, less HP, less melee defense, but 2 of your waltzes got some buffs. So the mask got a bit of a retune. Slongor's got nerfed. D'Chala got buffed. Druchii Anointed got buffed. Praeton got buffed. Devotees got buffed. Champions got buffed. Scourge, the Praeton ROR got buffed. Chariots got side graded. Chaos Lord got buffed. Demonette's got buffed. Alluress got buffed. Marquis got buffed. Cultist got buffed. That's a lot of buffs for Slaanesh. Like, it's a lot of buffs for their units they don't use very often, but like, Slaanesh is pretty strong in land battles and conquest. We see them in a lot of top tournaments. And as far as I've heard, they're really strong in domination. So this feels weird. Nerfing 2 of their overpowered units, sure, but then buffing so many other units. It's like, is this faction actually going to end up stronger? I don't know. I don't know about that one. Okay, Chimera. So now we're moving on to, it looks like some of Norsca's new stuff from the DLC. Chimera, less leadership and damage reduction on the Flaming Breath. So it looks like, I think what that means is the breath attack does less damage. That, or it imbues a damage reduction, but I'm going to assume it means it does less damage. Blood Shriek Chimera, similar thing, except its breath attack doesn't get a damage reduction. It does get Perfect Predator. Target range is now 55 meters. I think that means it has to be out of range for that to work. I don't know. I don't know what Perfect Predator is offhand. Weird. Dreadmaw has a longer burrow cooldown, it appears. Minus 5 leadership. And the explosion damages, did they go up or down? That's it. I didn't want to have to just like have the game open, but I'm going to pull it up now because these notes They're usually written in a way where they tell you it goes from what to what, but this is just saying, like, it is this. So, let me boot up. All right, Chimera. So what is that ruthless predator thing? Perfect predator. It's the heal. Okay, so range 35 meters, no enemies in range. Now it needs 55 meters. Okay, so you have to be further away before the Chimera can heal. And then the burrow from the Dreadmaw. The burrow's not on its unit card, so I'm guessing it's just giving it a cooldown now. Projectiles. Base explosion damage. And armor piercing. Base explosive damage is down by 10. Armor piercing is up by 10, so it's getting more AP on its shot. Familiar Noble, hit reaction, ignore chance, now 70%. I am assuming that is a buff to make it stumble less, but it is cheaper. And its abilities are cheaper and last longer. This Bjorg change was so funny to me. I clocked this as I briefly scrolled through it at work. Bjorg is back to 20 bonus versus large. So he started with 20 bonus versus large. Then they gave him bonus versus infantry, which I was against because I'm like, why would you do that? And now we got bonus versus large again, which is just hilarious. And now he gets Colossal Strike. So it looks like they've now shifted him being fully into being an anti-large hero. Replaced Potion of Toughness with Praeton Horns. I don't know what that is. Hit reaction, ignore chance is now 75%. I think that makes him stumble less. Bear Fang Talisman and Warcry have 20-second durations. Oh, Bear Fang Talisman gets 3 more seconds. Warcry gets 4 more seconds. Okay, I'm really curious what that Praeton thing is. But without his Potion of Toughness, that's his only source of healing, right? Or does he? Yeah, he has natural regen. Okay, he doesn't need Potion of Toughness, then that's fine. Riders the Mighty Serpent ROR plus 100 gold. We've seen those everywhere, so that is actually a little nerf to Slaanesh too. Kurgan Horseman, more weapon strength and hit points. Great weapons, more hit points. Wolfric the Wanderer, Hunter of Champions minus 60 armor. It currently does 30. Whew! Double the armor shred of Hunter. Sword of Torgal now has the inevitable end contact effect. I don't know what that is. And minus 150 gold in the Warmouth. Big buffs for Wolfric. Jesus Christ. He's already strong. That's kind of crazy. Throg gets minus 50 gold off the top. He gets Colossal Strike and the Stomach Acid effect on Copious Vomit. What's Stomach Acid? Isn't that on Bile Trolls? Yeah. So Throg's Breath Attack now will do minus 8 leadership. Famir from the Mist, plus 5 melee defense, and uses the aquatic large ground stat group. What does that mean? I don't understand what that means. From the Mist currently is missile resistance, so it looks like it also gives Famir plus 5 melee defense. Curse to Etten. All of his bound spells are now 3 uses. Winds of Magic Reserve now 0.07. Soul Crusher ROR is cheaper but less melee defense. Toad Dragon. Okay, so now we're on to Nurgle. So again, looking at Norsca, I'm a little confused, honestly. Chimera nerfed. Dreadmaw nerfed. Both those needed nerfs, that's fine. But then Famir Noble buffed, Bjorg buffed, Riders nerfed, Kurgan Horseman buffed. Wolfric big buff, Throg buffed, Famir buffed, Feral Mammoth buffed, Cursed Etten buffed, Soul Crusher overall buffed. That's weird. Norsca is already a pretty strong faction. I don't know if maybe they're doing poorly in domination, but like, good God. This isn't the same as Slaanesh, but like, it's still just kind of odd that an already top tier performing faction is getting buffs. They're getting buffs on some of their lesser used units, but Kurgan Horsemen have been seeing play. Not a ton, but they've been seeing play. Wolfric still sees a ton of play, so his buffs are really weird to me. The Sword of Torgal inevitable end contact effect could be sick as hell, depending on what the effect is, but like, the fact that he's getting buffs at all is very strange to me. Throg getting buffs is also a little odd. So I don't know. That's weird. I'm not like against it, because again, they're buffing usually bad units, except for Wolfric. But it's odd. Toad Dragon, plus 2,000 HP. Base melee damage down by 75, AP melee damage up by 75, increased acceleration, collision attack profile adjusted, which probably means it does more damage on contact, and unspeakable foulness no longer has a melee condition. What is that? Let me pull up Nurgle. Toad Dragon. Unspeakable foulness. 3 uses out of melee. It's his breath attack, so he can use his breath attack while in melee. Those are big buffs for the Toad Dragon. Tamarcon gets the similar treatment when he's on Bubabos. Base melee damage now 200. Base AP melee damage now 450. So he got more damage on both of his profiles if that's for on foot. I think that's on the Toad Dragon, because that would be less flat, more AP. On foot is now 100 gold cheaper, which is nice. And then the bonus versus large is now 30, which when he's on foot, what did it used to be? When he's on foot, it was 20. Okay, so I think these are 2 different things. Cool. Increased range for his Black Cleaver and Rotting Host, and Feast of the Maggot Lord now heals 50%. Now heals at 50%? Huh. That's weird. That's weird wording. I don't know what that means. Does it mean that when he's at 50% HP, it goes off, or that it heals him back up to 50% HP? That's weird. That's weird wording. I don't get it. Rot Flies, 100 gold off, cheaper. Plague Ogres, 50 gold off, and 300 more HP, which is nice. Nurglings, more HP per entity, more melee attack. Rot Knights get Ellipse models, which are much more responsive and better. Plague Ridden, 150 gold off all variants. Plague Flail can now be purchased in Quick Battle. So the Plague Ridden is the hero caster. I wonder what that Plague Flail does. Locus of Virulence duration is up, and additional base weapon strength. Herald of Nurgle is cheaper on all variants. Tormentor's Sword, so he can get a net now. Epidemius is cheaper, more weapon strength, and Sands of Sickness duration is up. Tallyman's Blade, summon lifetime is up. Tally of Pestilence, max melee attack is now 20. Summon lifetime's up, okay. I'm looking at this thing. Tally of Pestilence could get up to 15. It can get up to 20 now. Interesting. Sands of Sickness duration is almost doubled. That's kind of insane. Bilious Thundergift removed poison contact effect, replaced it with corroded armor, and it made his fart better. Suffocating. I don't know what suffocating is. We'll have to see what that contact effect is, but increased damage on his fart. Great Unclean One now has Foetid Stench and 100 gold cheaper. What is Foetid Stench? It sounds familiar. I'm looking for it. I don't know what unit has Foetid Stench. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Great Unclean One getting a buff. Cultist of Nurgle can now purchase the Brass Cleaver. Huh. Okay, sorry. Changeling. Okay, now we're on to Tzeentch. So Nurgle getting just like across the board buffs, which he probably could use. Nurgle has been one of the strong, the struggling factions, so that's pretty fine. And again, buffing mostly not good units, which is fine. Like bringing more stuff to be viable can make your faction stronger, so I like it. The Nurgle buffs are all really good. Big fan. Changeling on to Tzeentch, huh? The Changeling gets 25% spell mastery. And the decoy gives disoriented contact effects. That's interesting. Cloaked and Cowled, minus 100 gold. What is that one? That is his damage resist if the winds of magic are high. Gotcha. So when the Changeling shifts form, he has more spell mastery, and he's just faster. Screamers of Tzeentch, more charge bonus, slightly more HP to be alive. Shrieking Skyrays get a cost increase, but otherwise the same. Flamers are cheaper by 50. Petrifying Gaze now has 2 uses with a cooldown of 120 seconds. The Cockatrice is still going to suck, but sure. Iridescent Horror, that's his Tzeentch caster hero, which why would you ever take that? It gets some new items that might help it. Okay, and then the Locust of Change gets an increased time. Which one's the Locust of Change again? Armor piercing and base missile damage. Okay, so it just lasts longer. Whatever. Village. Barriers now heal at 1% per second, 35 meter AoE, and maximum intensity requirement reduced. So Village will charge faster, which is good. Blazing Squealers got cheaper, better accuracy. Okay. Cold, less staggered. Thorns Aura duration up. Windblade, Vortex, Gold Radius increased. So a lot larger area for its Windblade. So Cold got some buffs. Blue Scribes have the flammable contact effect on their missile weapons. They're good at debuffing stuff. Mutalith Vortex Beast cheaper? I don't know if the Mutalith Vortex Beast needed to be cheaper. It's already actually pretty strong. Aeson gets better spread. Burning Chariot of Tzeentch get bonus versus infantry, warp flame contact effect in melee, collision attack profile adjusted. That's overall probably a buff unless the collision attack got worse somehow, but overall a buff, which is weird. Burning Chariots are already a good unit. Not amazing, but they're good. Lord of Change now has Seer of Destiny. Don't know what that is. Golden Griffin has the same thing, and Searing Doom now has 2 uses. So Tzeentch also got buffs. Interesting. It's an interesting patch. So there's a lot of weird stuff in it. It's a very weird patch. I overall feel positive on it. So that's my bottom line, is I'm going to say like 8 out of 10 positive on the changes within this patch. It's cool. Those are cool changes on bad units. Great. Big fan, right? It's fine. So what I'm about to say isn't to be like the patch sucks. It's weird. Weird is a specific word. Weird doesn't mean bad. It means out of the ordinary, unusual. And I use that word specifically. There's a lot of weird changes here. Like certain factions that are top tier, Slaanesh and Norsca, are getting debatably buffs overall. Debatably. I think Norsca, yeah, debatably, because a couple of their OP units are getting tuned down a little bit. A lot of their bad units are getting tuned up. And those are 2 DLC factions, so it's like, okay, is this just cleanup from Tides of Torment? But then the High Elves didn't get anything. So that's weird. Like, and okay, you know, the High Elves not getting anything is probably bad, so I shouldn't say weird about that. But it's weird because it's like, oh, 2 out of the 3 factions from the DLC are getting tune-ups. Well, then this isn't just a DLC cleanup patch. Huh? That's weird. And then Nurgle and Tzeentch are low-performing factions, generally, so them getting buffs almost across the board is fine. But what's weird about that is they got such across-the-board changes, really in-depth to their rosters. It's strange because CA doesn't normally do this, and this is like not bad at all, but like normally their balance patches are like, we'll tap every faction on the head. We'll be like, you're a good boy, you're a good boy, you're a good boy, you're a good boy. And it used to be a meme that like when you scroll past like Norsca, there was like 3 or 4 patches in a row where the Norsca section was just like, we fixed a thing with their capes or like some shit. And people would meme about it. But that meme comes from the place that most factions were listed. So it was funny that Norsca got like 1 sentence. But this patch is really different. They went deep on like 5 factions. Cathay, a lot of campaign stuff for Cathay, but some balanced stuff for Cathay. Some. Cathay, Tzeentch, Nurgle, Norsca, Slaanesh. So 5 off the top of my head. Get a lot of changes, a lot of in-depth changes to their roster balancing. And then everybody else is completely empty, which is interesting. And before you flame, right? Before you flame out, here, consider the other thing. It's like, all right, well, it's kind of the same amount of changes and the same amount of effort as a normal balance patch. But instead of everybody getting a little piece of the pie, they sat 5 factions down and gave them an actual dinner. And it's like, does it suck if you're the other 19 factions and you didn't get anything? I mean, sure. But it is interesting. And it could shift up the meta. It honestly could. Because certain factions being strong makes certain matchups viable, right? Off the top of my head, like Nurgle and Tzeentch going up in priority. From in Land Battles and Conquest, they were pretty bad. Not terrible, but bad. Well, if Nurgle's better, Nurgle's counters are better. Which that's an opinionated thing, but it's like Wood Elves would get better, which Wood Elves are already pretty strong. Wood Elves get better if Tzeentch is better, so it's already pretty strong. What else counters Nurgle, though? Khorne's generally pretty strong against Nurgle, generally. Skaven go down. If Tzeentch and Nurgle get better, Skaven have less priority. I feel like Empire stocks go up. Tzeentch is kind of a wash, but Empire's decent against Nurgle at most times. War Wagons, Huntsmen, so you have decent range DPS, and then your Knights can do okay. As long as you can isolate the Rot Knights and take them down with some Plague of Rust casts and stuff. But like, anyway, my point being, the meta could shift even if not everyone gets tapped. If one faction rises from the bottom and becomes a contender, that changes who's strong in your rotation versus them. Kind of like in Super Smash Bros. If the meta shifts because like a certain character that was really strong gets nerfed, and then a character that was only in the meta to counter that character all of a sudden isn't that good anymore. Like I haven't been watching recently because it's just been the Minecraft Steve meta for a while, but when Steve came out, all of a sudden Wii Fit Trainer was really good, and fuck, I'm forgetting her name now. Rosalina and Luma. Yeah, I think that was them. Anyway, there were these two characters that in general weren't considered that good, but they were pretty good into Steve's specific playstyle. So all of a sudden, a lot of top players learned how to play those characters to counter Steve. So, I don't know. You can see some stuff. This is a pretty sizable patch, and there's a lot of good stuff that got changed, a ton of bug fixes and whatever. I do think it's just kind of an odd patch. It caught me a little off guard of like, oh, that's what we're changing. Oh, that's what we're changing. Okay, that's and that and that. But like, they're good changes. I've been bitching about Plague Ogres being trash forever, so Plague Ogres getting a buff is huge. I think that's very exciting. Trying to just off the top of my head think of the other ones. The Kurgan Horsemen, sure, buffing them is fine. You know, they're kind of cool. Buffing the heroes that no one ever used is hype. Epidemius getting buffed is pretty hype. Friggin' Rotflies, the Toad Dragon getting buffed. Throg, my boy, getting buffed. He didn't need it, but sure. So, I don't know. It's a fine patch. I hope we get more consistent patches because it's been a crazy long time since we got the last one. I think I'll be more positive if there's more patches coming for more factions and stuff. But if this was a one-off, then I guess I'll be more disappointed, you know? So, it depends. My perspective on this depends on what is to come. But it's a good start, and I appreciate it. Later, Gators. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.